Hey friends, I hope the morning's treating you well. If you got your coffee, I got mine. I wanted to talk about Elvis Presley today. Today is Elvis Presley's birthday, or it would have been Elvis Presley's birthday. And I thought it would be fitting if I came down to the spot where Elvis Presley played his final concert. I'm standing right here where Market Square Arena used to be. It's 11 degrees out. There's winds of 21 mile an hour. I'm ducked right behind this parking garage right here trying to stay out of the wind. I am really cold. I mean, really cold. And I'm hoping I can stay with you as long as possible this morning. But I don't know if you guys are Elvis fans or not. We talk about Elvis a little bit. He gets brought up on the channel. But right here, man, Market Square Arena was right here. Elvis Presley and a lot of other people played concerts right here, and there's a plaque somewhere around the corner that they finally put up just a few years ago, I think, saying this is where Elvis played his final concert. And I believe the very first concert at Market Square Arena was Glenn Campbell. I don't know what year, maybe 72. I'm not honestly sure about that. And I think the last concert was ZZ Top. A buddy of mine went to that. I really kind of wish I would have gone when that happened, but man, this was the site of. I saw so many great shows over the years. Saw, good Lord, I'm coming up blank because it's so damn cold. I got distracted by the guy walking behind me, which will happen sometime when you're recording on the street. But I saw a lot of different concerts over the years. I've probably seen 20 different ones here. This was also where the Pacers played their home games, and this was a great home field advantage for the Pacers. Inside Market Square Arena, there was a lot of reflective surfaces because it wasn't really, they didn't soundproof places like they do now back then. So for concerts, it was boomy and echoey, and if it was a loud band, it never really sounded that great. But if it was basketball arena with a bunch of fans screaming, it was really, really loud. I mean, like really loud. So it was a great home field advantage. If you remember all of those games with Reggie Miller, hitting those three-pointers at the end of the game to beat the Knicks, Spike Lee sitting on the side of the court with his hands in his head in his hands. A lot of that happened right here. It was a beautiful time, in the mid-'90s to be a Pacer fan. Even though they never won it all, there was a lot to root for. And I can remember seeing, I think this is pretty bad. This isn't like a cool one to admit to, but I think the first concert I ever saw here was Judas Priest on their Screaming for Vengeance tour. I came with some buddies, and it was like $8 to go to a concert. And it was a good time. It was really fun. And I also remember, and I'll get to the Elvis stuff here in a little bit, my memories of Market Square Arena is when they had a big digital clock on the wall, so when you were waiting for the concert to start, the digital clock would just, it would say 7:11, 7:12, 7:13. So when you're waiting for AC/DC to start playing, the digital clock at some point would turn to 7:14, and the entire arena would start screaming and cheering. I was at probably 3 or 5 different shows before I realized why we were screaming at that point, but I guess 7:14 used to be on a Quaalude, and all of the stoners sitting around waiting for AC/DC or whoever to come on, seeing 7:14 on a clock, that was a big deal. Maybe that happened in whatever city you grew up in, whatever arena you saw concerts in. But those are just a few memories I have of being here. It was torn down. I don't know what year it was torn down, but it was just a parking lot for a while, and now there's like a Whole Foods over here, and I think they put up a big, I don't know where it's condos, but some high-rise building people live in. So I'm thinking about Elvis. A good question to ask you guys might be, what's your favorite Elvis songs? And I like mostly the Sun stuff, although if Reggie Young is on it, I'm all about that. But I think a better question, Elvis is mentioned in a lot of other people's songs. It's like, what's an Elvis song that you guys, or what's a song where they mention Elvis? Off the top of my head, the one I like most, I think my favorite would be Gillian Welch and Davis Rawlings. Is it Elvis Presley Blues? Is that what it's called? I was thinking that night about Elvis. That one's pretty damn great. I can remember going to the Elvis is Alive Museum in Wright City, Missouri, and just a really, really low budget museum, which was pretty damn great. It made it way cooler, and based on a bunch of conspiracies about Elvis being alive and aliens and things like that. Back when conspiracies were fun. They're not so fun anymore, but I remember pulling up into the parking lot, and that was playing. I just kind of had I had an iPod that somebody had, I think it was an iPod. But anyway, it just came on. Maybe it was on a CD that with a bunch of different stuff on it, and it seemed fitting. I also, what was the other songs I thought of? There was a song, we'll say Elvis is Everywhere by Mojo Nixon. How do I not think of that? That's pretty damn great. That's pretty fun. And my dad loved Elvis, and I remember showing him the video for that, Mojo Nixon, and my dad actually liked it, which I thought that was pretty cool. I figured he would hate it, but he actually liked it. So that would probably be my number 2 on my favorite songs about Elvis. I don't really know where to go from there. There's a lot of different ones. There's a song that I can remember from like 30 years ago. There was a band called Flies on Fire, and they had a song called Baptize Me Over Elvis Presley's Grave. And I haven't heard it in 20, maybe 30 years. But I remember I liked it then. I'm thinking I'd probably like the song, but I might hate the production now. I don't know. It might be great. It might be perfect. But if any of you guys have heard that, or maybe somebody can post a link to that video in the comments and other people can hear it. If there's a video out there, I'm guessing it's probably all over the net. It can't be that obscure. But what's your favorite song where Elvis gets mentioned in it? Maybe it's about him. And I'm kind of drawing blanks there. I know there's a lot. But I want to also tell you guys, I went to Graceland. I went to Memphis with some friends of mine. It was either the 15th anniversary of Elvis's death, or it was the 20th anniversary of Elvis's death. I don't remember which. It seems like, I think he died in 77, so 97 seems a little bit late. That would be 20. I know it was a big round number. It seemed like it was 20 years, but it seems like it was earlier than that. But anyway, there were some friends of mine. We were all talking about maybe going to Graceland, go down to Memphis, just to see, have fun and pay our respects to Elvis on the 20th anniversary of him passing away. It was I think it was 5 friends of mine and me. It was I believe 4 girls. I don't want to name anybody's names and incriminate them, but 4 friends of mine. I can name their names: Patty and Kathy. I remember Mary and Lori. What's nice, I get to see them sometimes around town now. I see Lori at the dog park, and then my buddy Greg, who he's all rockabilly guy, and I used to call him Pony Boy. We used to play poker. I would play poker after the bars closed with some bartender friends of mine, and the game would start at 3 or 4 a.m. and we'd play till like 8 or 9 in the morning. And Greg would usually get drunk and lose some money. And we're talking about if you won $20 at a night, you'd be doing really well. So I liked playing poker with Greg because he would get drunk and I could win some money off of him. But real mellow, easygoing guy. When King of the Hill started, I just want to give you guys an idea of who I'm talking about here. And I hope he doesn't mind. He won't know I'm talking about him, but I love him and haven't seen him in a long, long time. But when King of the Hill first started, and we all saw the Boomhauer character, we laughed and like, oh man, that's Greg, that's Pony Boy. And he kind of talks like that. And everybody's got that one friend. So we go to we go to Memphis I think we were in one car. It's been a long time. We're all piled in. This is something I would never do now. Travel with multiple people, unless it's a band or something. And, it shows how young I was and how more adventurous I was probably at the time. But we went to Memphis, and we all stayed in one hotel room. It was like a $20 really cheap budget hotel room, and we're all piled in. So I think I was sleeping on the floor, which is something, sleeping on a hotel room floor, that's not smart. That shows you how young I was and how dumb I was. But remember going places. It was fun, but when it's time to do something and you have a large group of people and you're trying to decide where to go, it just takes forever. It's never that fun. And I remember a lot of standing around wanting to, where are we going to eat? Where are we going to go next and all that. And me and Greg were really mellow. And I remember the event that took place became the night that Ponyboy took the King's name in vain. We're doing all this Elvis stuff, checking it all in, and he's just like tired of it. Tired of being around a lot of people, tired of us not being able to decide where we want to go, what we want to do. And in the middle of some argument or whatever, which I'm just over in the corner from, he just, I'm not going to say it out loud, but he just he screamed, "Screw Elvis, screw all of this," Well, he didn't say screw. He's like, "I don't care about Elvis anymore." We're all kind of shocked because he loved Elvis, and so we're all just kind of standing there with our mouths down, our jaws open, and wondering, what comes next. It was kind of like, I don't know. It was drastic, and we laughed about it for years and years later as the night that Ponyboy took the King's name in vain. But I remember going through Graceland. I don't think that was the first time I'd been there, but outside of Graceland, they had a candlelight vigil on the night. It was the 20th anniversary of his death, and there's just a bunch of people around. And to be honest with you, there's just there's the cheesiness. There was a lot of Elvis impersonators. They're real cheesy, and I like that. Like, the worst an Elvis impersonator is, the more I like it. So it brings on this whole other thing that I enjoy, and for the right reasons. And but we're watching just people selling every little trinket you could possibly think of. Just strange, like a dead man, and people are just selling everything. Just there's a moment when it's just too much. We're just kind of overtaken by, it's like, that's where we are. We're exploiting a man's death for profit. That's where we are nowadays. And this moment that we were in. So I'm getting in that headspace, and it's not the best headspace at all to be in. It just definitely wasn't. I wasn't enjoying it, but it was in my own head. I wasn't talking about it outward or whatever. So as I'm at this candlelight vigil, we're just kind of standing there. And there's thousands of people throughout the street. People came from all over the world to be there, including us. And all this, I'm kind of getting a little bit too much negativity in me. It's all me. It's me reacting to these things that I've witnessed over the last couple of days. And just the blatant commercialism of a man's death. And not sure another way to say it. That's what I was feeling at that moment. Not proud of it now, but I want you to know that's what I was feeling. And so they asked for a moment of silence, and everybody just kind of stood there, people holding candles. It was really, everything was starting to get dark, people holding up candles, and they had this really rickety PA system, which is kind of amazing to me that maybe they didn't expect this many people, but they had a PA system that, like a couple PV 15-inch speakers on poles and maybe a 50 or 100 watt PV head powering it, broadcasting to thousands of people. It's something that you would rehearse with in your basement, and it's out in front of Graceland on the streets that we're all standing on, and streets are blocked off, and the PA starts playing I can't help falling in love with you. You know, what's the name of the song? Wise men say only fool rush in. And as I'm standing there in this moment of negativity in me, there's a really old woman on this side of me. It's a complete stranger. I don't know her at all. I'm standing amongst strangers. And she reaches over and she like grabs my hand, and we're holding hands. And there was another older gentleman over here, and I start holding hands. So this whole crowd, everybody starts holding hands, and everybody starts singing. You know, wise men say only fools rush in. I can't help falling in love with you. And it was just absolutely beautiful. All of this negativity, all of this baggage that I was bringing to this affair that was legitimate in some ways, but it was all me reacting to my surroundings. And this honest moment pops up. And I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. All you could hear is this cheap PA with Elvis coming out of it, distorting completely imperfectly, and all of us people singing quietly over it, blending in with it. And I don't know, it was just an absolutely beautiful moment, and I'm glad I got to share it. And so I am freezing my ass off. I'm feeling a little bit warm and fuzzy. I need more coffee. The wind is kicking up a little bit, but I'm going to leave you guys with that so that I don't get to hypothermia or whatever. But if you guys dig Elvis, I hope you spend a little time today listening to him. But tell me down below, favorite Elvis songs. Did you ever see him live? You know, did you ever see a great Elvis impersonator? Remember Elvis? Elvis was great, man. I remember seeing Elvis. I think I'm getting yelled at from afar. But Elvis was great. Not completely an impersonator or whatever, but brought his own thing to the table, and it was a great, great, fun live show. Maybe you've seen him, but maybe you saw Elvis. And what's your favorite song that mentions Elvis? I'm going to go with Gillian and David, and I'll say that's my favorite. All apologies to Mojo Nixon, but he's second for now. But I'm going to get inside, have some more coffee, and wise men say only fools rush in. Much love to you guys.